In this video, I will talk about the question, why is the topic of globally responsible leadership so important? A lot has changed since the first official call for globally responsible leadership was launched by the European Foundation for Management Development and the Globally Responsible Leadership Initiative in 2025. In 2007, the United Nations Prime Initiative was launched to nurture responsible leaders of the future. To cite Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General, never has this task been more important. Bold leadership and innovative thinking are needed to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. 10 years later, in 2017, the World Economic Forum dedicated its annual summit to the topic of responsive and responsible leadership. In 2020, Ursula von der Leyen, European Commissioner, introduced 3 pillars of responsible leadership for the 2020s. And in the same year, and 15 years after its foundation, the GRLI has embarked on building the Responsible Leadership Library to provide insights and learnings and progress responsible leadership in business and academia. This introduction is part of this video series. Let me come to the question, why is the topic of globally responsible leadership so important? To begin with, our planet is in danger. Urgent action is required. Without doubt, we are facing unprecedented human, social, and environmental challenges. The global COVID-19 pandemic and climate change are only the tip of the iceberg and are the most urgent challenges to be tackled. As you can see from the graph, according to the Global Footprint Network, we are currently use 1.75 Earth. This means we consume more natural sources than our planet's ecosystem can regenerate. The figures from some countries are even more alarming, with some countries consuming at a scale of 5 Earths. Global warming is one result of this overconsumption. The consequences are far-reaching and systemic. Glaciers in Greenland and the Alps are melting at a record pace. This leads to flooding in different parts of the world with devastating effects, not only, but particularly for people in developing countries. It also leads to more extreme weather conditions in many parts of the world, which exacerbate the negative consequences of climate change. While climate change and sustainability issues were neglected for a long time, and still are, an increasing number of business leaders are waking up to this challenge. In 2021, a survey by the consulting firm Deloitte reported that more than 80% of surveyed business executives, representing 6 continents, acknowledge that climate change requires immediate action. These business leaders also report that climate change poses a real business threat, with nearly 30% experiencing operational impacts of climate-related disaster and more than 25% facing resource scarcity. However, while business leaders fear the impact of climate change, Deloitte studies shows that the pandemic and economic downturn have stalled ambitious actions. Furthermore, with an estimated rapid global population growth and the further economic rise of some Asian economies after the COVID-19 pandemic, sustainability and sustainable development goals seem to be moving further out of reach than ever, unless we curb this completely unsustainable development. However, this requires that we firstly move from awareness to responsible leadership and action. Secondly, apply an inclusive partnership approach. And thirdly, empower collaboration across sectors in order to resolve the systemic societal challenges that we are facing. In this process, responsible business leadership is more important than ever. However, it requires a particular type of leaders, those who are inclusive and integrative, who go beyond self-interest and interact with and mobilize stakeholders across sectors in order to develop substantial innovations for sustainable futures, and particularly to save the planet for future generations, our children and grandchildren.